Week 8, we're talking about illustration. And this is somewhat of a metaphorical representation of some kind of editorial that might be going on or some kind of socially significant story that you're featuring. But the image goes through and depicts that, like I said, in some kind of a metaphor. So there's a couple things to go along with that. One is the assignment itself. I'm going to go over a few things, some previous work that students have done in talking about the metaphors and then the photographic quality and what's really involved in that, because there's a number of different approaches that you can make with this. So there's an assignment with this, and then I also have some reading for you to do with that as well. In fact, if you go to the week and click on newsworthiness, and guys, it's just a page, and I know that for some of you that might be a lot of reading, but you need to get into understanding what makes something worth our attention. What makes it worth a critical analysis, worth contemplating, worth debating about it, getting into it. And this gets into all of the ideas, well, not all of them, but most of the ideas out there as put out by, I think this was originally put out as a guideline for Reuters. There, take a look at it. So you should probably have a pretty good working knowledge of these ideas, not just for your assignment, but also perhaps for a test that might come along here, because from what I'm seeing, you guys really just aren't paying a whole lot of attention to what's going on here on this Canvas page. You're not watching the videos that I'm posting, and you're spending very little time. So I'm going to kind of buckle down a bit on this, on content, and hold you a little bit more accountable. And I'm really not seeing a whole lot of execution of the concepts that we're talking about as far as your work is concerned. Some of you are nailing it. You're doing a great job. But the majority of you, you're going out and releasing the shutter, and you know, there's just not a whole lot of care behind what it is that you're doing. And that's fine. I realize, it's an online class, and you're thinking it's his last class, so what difference does it make, right? Well, it makes a lot of difference. To me, it does anyway, because I take this instruction pretty seriously. With the idea that you might be able to change somebody's ideas, the way they think about things, their critical analysis of what's going on, and really that comes back to kind of this assignment as far as illustration is concerned. So it might do you good to go through and watch this video clear to the end. I know it's asking a lot of you, and to read this page that I have here on worthiness to get into that. Let me get into the assignment itself. Found back on the module, it's illustration here. Let me go through and publish that page so you have that. And all it's asking you to do is to go through and pick a topic of some sort, some kind of socially relevant issue. It could be the economy, it could be equality, it could be lots of things. And heaven knows there's lots of things going on currently for us to go through and depict. Photojournalists aren't always out in the field shooting something, releasing the shutter. In fact, unless you are freelancing, rarely are you out doing that. Typically, if you're working in-house for a publication for a website, you are working on gathering material, getting a take that goes through and supports the editorial content of what your organization's putting out there. And that becomes illustrative. You're creating something with one image that goes through and communicates something there. So like this image here with BROOKE McArthur, she took this, and it's a self-portrait of her. And I think the idea is pretty straightforward in what it is that she's trying to communicate. I really like it a lot for the framing, for the clarity of it, for the message that it has behind it, the peeling away of the thing that's been silencing her specifically, but women in general. Not sure we needed to have silence written on there, that there's this break going on. Sometimes we can maybe go a little too far with this, but still photographically this is very well done. And it goes through and depicts perhaps women not having a voice, or it gets into perhaps something having to do with abuse that is overlooked within marriages. There's a lot here that can go on with that. So that's what I'm asking you to do with this. The rubric breaks down into 4 different areas that you've researched some kind of an editorial topic. and you've explored a number of ways to go through and illustrate that you've considered some design approaches, including how you're going to put that image together and how you're going to light it. Am I going to do a shallow depth of field or a deep depth of field? What's going on with that? Number 3, that you have some kind of contextual analysis. There's that C word again in there. And then lastly, that you actually create the image and that you've posted it here. And that you give me some kind of a rundown. You write about the image, about the first 3 things as to how this image goes through and executes what it is that you want to do. Like I said, with Brooke's image, it's pretty self-explanatory, and I really like the way it's lit. If you look in the eyes, you can see the catch lights in there and how it was actually lit with a key light above and the catch light there down at the bottom. Another student of mine, her name is Quintanta. She is involved in a documentary process that is looking at racism along the Wasatch, the whitening of certain races along the Wasatch. And this is an image that was created to go through as a study for that. And she does a remarkable job with this. Christopher Fisher wanted to go through and depict how the United States seems to be overbearing everything else that's going on in the rest of the world, and how we've kind of turned inward to what's happening here politically and kind of shunning what's going on around us. And so he decided to go through and take a different approach in telling that or depicting that. He projected a map of the United States up on a screen in the room where I teach. I have a large screen with a projector. And then he went off to the side and took a real shallow depth of field approach, framing the United States in the left-hand side of the frame, and then have everything go out of focus from that point. Goes through and it worked out well. Iris Carling, another student of mine, gets into this illustrative image about how concerned we are about body types. Sophie Amendola also kind of touches along the same lines there as far as not necessarily a body type, but how we're not happy with how we look. Daniel TARFUR gets into some immigration issues with this illustrative image. So a lot of thought and planning went into that one. TUITAU gets into the issue of suicide. I teach at a performing arts high school, and we deal with suicide a lot. And he decided to go through and create an image depicting some struggles in with that. And then lastly, Zoe SEARS, a photographer who shot this one about kind of the expectations of masculinity that we might have that's out there. So these are just kind of some images, some ideas here for you, not to steal, but maybe to inspire you or to take a look at how you can go through and maybe depict certain issues that are out there. Except for Brooke, who was a student of mine there at Dixie State, the rest of these are high school students. Yeah. And a lot of these, well, no, I can't say that. 2 of them were taken with an iPhone, but the rest of them were taken with a DSLR there to go through and depict that. So that's what I'm looking for this week. Wouldn't be a bad idea for you to maybe to go through and search illustrative photojournalism and take a look at some other work that's been done out there. You might have some local issues. You might have some campus issues just at Dixie State, or issues just within St. George in southern Utah or the state of Utah. You can take this as local as you want or as global as you want, okay? If you have any questions about this, you know where to find me, and I look forward to seeing your takes, okay? Make sure that you go through and write about the context of what it is that you're doing, okay? And give me an idea of your design approach. What kind of thought went into executing the image that you did? All right? Okay. See you next week.